You know, niggas gotta get their priorities together. Got their mind on the wrong things, spending their money in the wrong way.
Trapaholics, real trap shit.
Say you need that car with the rims and a trunk, just like Jim. It's more than life. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Talk to him.
Say you need that LV bag with the belt and the hat.
That's all you got though.
It's more than life. Yeah.
Talk to him. Real.
Say you wanna turn up at the club, like some bottles, impress them girls. It's more than life.
Fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Saints and Appetizers podcast. And who dat? And we're back. We're back with some more main course for you. And I'm talking about Sundays, October 12th at 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern Time in Caesars Superdome. Matchup at home. The New Orleans Saints take on the New England Patriots. And so this is another matchup where it looks like the Patriots are the better team coming in, but really just had an impressive performance in their last matchup against the Buffalo Bills, and I guess we're gonna have to see how real or how impressive the Patriots win was, and same with the Saints win against the Giants last week with the 5 turnovers and the turnover on downs to end the game. But before we delve too deep into the Patriots game, I just want to have some final thoughts on the Giants game. So the Giants just had a really impressive win over the Philadelphia Eagles here on Thursday night. And that has me questioning, people talking about, oh, the Saints have got their first win, but it's against the Giants. Well, does that win feel more impressive for the Saints now? Because at the same time, you hear people talking about the Giants wanting to talk them up as if like they committed some great sin by losing to the Saints. And you had Kirk Herbstreit last night, Thursday, said that if the Giants wouldn't have turned the ball over 5 times, that they would be 3-0 with Jackson Dart. Well, you can't do that, and that's not necessarily true. You take those 5 turnovers away, something else may have happened in the game, leading to the Saints still winning in that game. So you hear a lot of hate about teams losing to the Saints, but if the Saints lose or win a game, then that's just the worst team in the league. So you can't have it both ways. But I will say the Giants getting that win over the Super Bowl champions, former just reigning Super Bowl champions, and doing it in impressive fashion makes the win against the Saints win over them feel a lot more impressive, and was a real joy to watch them beat up on another team after the Saints just clapped their cheeks less than a week ago. I understand football and game to game and season to season is not linear. Just because you beat that team doesn't mean that because that team lost to that team that you can beat that team. Or the same with it's the quarterback growth. You had great players the previous year, so you're expecting all those great players to be as rookies, in their second or third season to be even better. Like that's not how it is. They can definitely there can be a where it plane fills. It tapers out, and just kind of you get the same on an average. But yeah, don't disrespect the Saints win and only win over the Giants just because it was the Giants, because the Giants are doing the same thing, saying, well, we should be 3-0 if we just didn't lose to the Saints. So it's the same thing. They look at us, but what does that mean about the Giants? Because they lost to the Saints. But anyways, I just had a final thought on that, and man, I wanted to, like, I think you heard me on the last Saints podcast, wanting to swing on these broadcasters, game commentators. Charles Davis last week during the Jordan Howding 82-yard fumble return for a touchdown, and then in this game listening to Kirk Herbstreit saying the ridiculous, if they didn't turn the ball over 5 times, they'd be 3-0 with Jackson Dart. That's not how it works, bro. That's not how football works. You can't pick and choose. But the Saints I feel that their win over the Giants now was more impressive than people were trying to make it out to be. So the next step to that is to see if they can grow on that and possibly get a win next Sunday against the New England Patriots at home. But before we get into that, we want to get into that. But before we do, I just need to ask you one thing. Can I get a menu? And so let's get into this injury report for the Saints because it's long and same with the Patriots. It's long, but for the Saints, you could argue this is the healthiest they've been all year. So we'll just start out with the first player here on the list here because that's like literally the only player that's injured. So let's just get his name out of the way because we don't care or want to see too much more of him anyways. And I'm talking about a cornerback, Ike Yadam, dealing with a hamstring ever since he got benched. He's been dealing with ever since he got benched in the Bills game. He's been dealing with a hamstring. More like we want to save our fourth round comp pick, and we actually think Quincy Riley and Kool-Aid McKinstry and Alante Taylor are better anyways. And we just signed Michael Davis, a protege of Brandon Staley when he was with the Chargers. So I don't see why he can't fill the hole that's slightly vacated because they don't have Ike Yadam anymore. But he had a hamstring, didn't practice all week, and is out. So I'm good with that. And like I was going to say, besides him and obviously Blackman with the shoulder, the labrum injury, and done for the season, this is probably the healthiest the Saints have been all year. So it gets me excited for that. And coming off a win and seeing the Patriots look so impressive against the Bills last week, it got me excited for this game. You know, it's probably not a game they're expected to win, but hey, they got a full load of players and they're healthy. So it would be nice to at least like most of the season, at least if nothing else, have an impressive performance. But let's get into more of this injury report because, like I said, it's long, but it doesn't look like there's anything too serious on it besides Ike Yadam, and then you have Blackman who was put on IR a couple weeks back. And you have tight end Juwan Johnson, ankle was limited Wednesday and Thursday, and then was full Friday, has no game status. You have running back Alvin Kamara, ankle, which when this first broke on Thursday, I think, or maybe it was Wednesday, when it first broke, they acted as if the ankle sprain or the ankle soreness that he was dealing with happened in during practice, but as the weeks went along, Thursday, Friday, he just stated that it was just ankle soreness and not much more than that, and it had happened. It had happened in the game against the Giants. So he was limited all week and is listed as questionable. But from at least what you're hearing from Alvin Kamara, doesn't sound super serious. And if he injured it last week against the Giants, I don't know if that led to Kendra Miller getting more touches or not, but he did. So I mean, if Alvin Kamara has to sit, then I guess he has to sit, and I would be perfectly fine with him resting an ankle or any type of injury. And hey, I wouldn't mind getting to see some Devin Neal, honestly. And then tackle guard or your left guard, Trevor Penning, ankle was limited Wednesday, but was full Thursday and Friday and has no game status. And then safety Justin Reed, we're a little concerned about him going out against the Giants in that game. I guess had a concussion of some sort. And man, nowadays you got any kind of concussion protocol or any type of head injury, like you're almost guaranteed to be out a week or two for it. So nice to see that it must have not have been anything too serious because he even during the game he was back on the sidelines and in street clothes, like celebrating with his teammates. But coming off a safety, Justin Reed's concussion protocol was limited Wednesday, but was full Thursday and Friday and has no game status. But hell, I mean, do we even need Justin Reed back with how great Jonas Sanker and Holland have been, or Howden have been? Like we went from Blackman and Reed and never really had any real big plays or interceptions or anything with them. And then we go to Sanker and Howden, and we have interception, fumble, return for a touchdown. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm sure Justin Reed will still get the start over Jordan Howden, but still, it's a nice thing to think about, and nice to know that you have talented players and depth behind your veteran players. But yeah, he uh, was limited Wednesday, full all week, and has no game status. And then you have a center guard or your right guard, Cesar Ruiz, which this one's got me pretty surprised and blown away because they said it was a high ankle sprain, which those are like almost guaranteed to be like a 4 to 6 week, or even depending how good your team is at the time and how how the how the high ankle sprain injury is responding to rehab. Sometimes you're done for the season after that. But 2 weeks in 2 weeks, Cesar Ruiz's ankle must not have been too bad, which I'm not upset about that. But seems like the Saints offensive line's been playing just fine with Torridelli Simpkins or Dylan Raduns, who also looks like he may be back as well. But Cesar Ruiz ankle was limited Wednesday and then full Thursday and Friday and has no game status. So didn't know if we're going to get to see it ever again this season, but looks like there's a good chance unless they use Cesar Ruiz and Dylan Raduns kind of as a emergency backup. It looks like we're going to get to see our starting five, our projected starting five again in a game. So that's exciting. And even if Cesar Ruiz or goes down, it looks like you have all your depth behind them with Torricelli, Simpkins, and Dylan Radun. So that's pretty exciting. Like I said, it's just exciting that the Saints are extremely healthy. Pretty much everyone is healthy except Blackman, who's done for the season. That's what makes this so exciting going into games and going in against games where you're probably not expected to win. The Patriots are looked at as a better team, but offensively, I mean, other than Drake May and Stephon Diggs, who do they really have? But anyways, let's finish up this injury report for the Saints. And then, so we were surprised and happy about Cesar Ruiz and Justin Reed, but probably the one people have been waiting for and are just can't wait, can't sleep until you get the debut, the 2025 debut of defensive end Chase Young. Was dealing with that calf injury. We expected and projected it to be just with how they were talking about it as if it wasn't anything serious and it was going to be maybe a day to day, maybe a week or two type of injury, and then next thing you know, he's missed 5 games, and we're clamoring about why he wasn't put on IR sooner. So I guess there's just kind of a misdiagnosis there. But Chase Young, calf, was limited Wednesday and Thursday, so he's bracket practice, and then he was full on Friday and no game designated, no game status designation. So we're finally going to get to see Chase Young, and just if he can just add some pressure and a sack here or there, I think the Saints pass rush and front seven would be maybe kind of considered decent then, which they just haven't been terrible, but just the consistency of the pressure. They've been good, decent in sack numbers when the refs aren't stealing them away with horrible roughing the passer calls. But yeah, if you could just add a little more heat and a little more excitement in that pass rush, Saints defense, which has already been decent this year in some games, could maybe even be even more decenter. So yeah, Chase Young, that's got me excited. And that's in the previous podcast I was saying, like that's about the all besides the win that we got against the Giants, that's about the only thing we're missing is a Chase Young game, a Chase Young sack or strip sack or something would be kind of the cherry on top of how the season's gone and how it's going. But that would be nice. And then backup offensive lineman Dylan Radun's toe was full all week and has no game status either. And I was thinking with that toe injury, I was thinking that was going to be a 4 to 6 week type of deal because he didn't even travel to Seattle because it was so bad. So we're thinking, they got some bad swelling there, or they're waiting for the swelling to go down so they can do more tests on it to see whether it needs surgery or not. But hey, I mean, kind of like Cesar Ruiz, he's back sooner than I expected. And then you have a defensive tackle, John Ridgway the third, but he's still on IR. He hasn't been activated to the active roster yet. So unless he's activated on game day, not necessarily sure we'll see him or not. So John Ridgway the third, shoulder, was full all week, but is still listed as questionable and still hasn't been activated to the active roster. And then defensive tackle Devin Gachu, not injury related, rest, practiced Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday, and then practiced Friday and has no game status. So you only have three players with any type of game status. Isaac Gatum's the only one that's out, which we don't care. We don't care. We don't want to see Ike Gatum anymore unless he's playing like special teams or something, which the return teams for this team have been terrible. But I don't think Ike Yadom's bum ass is going to improve that at all. But you have him out, and then you just have Alvin Kamara and Ridgway as questionable. And I feel as that Alvin Kamara is pretty likely to play. But if he doesn't, I don't wouldn't that wouldn't hurt. I wouldn't be too upset about that. Like I'd be fine with seeing more Kendra Miller and let me get a good dose. A couple 5+ carries out of Devin Neal. Well, wouldn't be against it either. All right, so yeah, so that was a long injury report for the Saints, but you could argue is the best one they've had this year, just in regards to like really no one is expected to miss any of the game because of it. All right, so now then on to the Patriots injury report, which it's longer and has more players either questionable or out on it, but I can't say that I'm a huge New England Patriot fan, so I'm not 100% on if these players are that important or if they're starters for the Patriots. But we'll go through the list. I think some of these names are somewhat familiar to me. There's only one that I know is definitely like their starting corner on their injury list, that Christian Gonzalez. He popped up with a hamstring, but let's go through the whole thing. So, running back, you have Antonio Gibson, who I think he's just like I think they kind of have a rotation. Tremon something and Ramondre Stevens and Antonio Gibson. They run like a three-headed back running game there. It's not like it's impressive or anything, but he gets some touches, I guess. So Antonio Gibson knee didn't practice all week and is out. Safety Jalen Hawkins hamstring didn't practice all week and is out. Defensive end Keon White elbow didn't practice all week and is out. So I mean they're more banged up than the Saints. These might not be all like superstar elite players or starters, but even not having depth pieces or rotational pieces can lead to losses or not performing as good as you usually would. And they have defensive tackle Christian Barmore, not injury related / other, limited Wednesday and then full Thursday and Friday, no game status. Former LSU star linebacker Kayvon Chason, knee was limited Wednesday and Thursday, and then was full on Friday, has no game status. And then defensive tackle Joshua Farmer, ankle was limited Wednesday and Thursday, and then was full Friday, has no game status. Linebacker Anfernine Jennings, ankle was limited Wednesday, and then didn't practice Thursday or Friday, and it's out. And I think he's either like one of their top 4 linebackers, or he's definitely one of their depth players, or definitely a special teams linebacker. So that name Anfernine Jennings is definitely familiar to me. And then defensive tackle Milton Williams, ankle was limited Wednesday and Thursday, and then was full Friday, has no game status. Linebacker Marty Mapuk, neck and hamstring, was full Wednesday and then limited Thursday and Friday, and then is questionable and as his game status. And then guard Mike Onwu, shoulder / thigh, was full all week, no game designation game status. And then you have cornerback Christian Gonzalez hamstring. Must have hurt it in Wednesday's practice because he practiced Wednesday, but then was limited Thursday and Friday with a hamstring, and then is questionable for game status. Like that would be big. That would be big for this game if the Patriots didn't have their number one corner for this game on Sunday, and then also adding another corner. So I guess their defensive backs are getting beat up a little bit in practice this week. You have a cornerback Charles Woods knee practice Wednesday and Thursday, but then was limited Friday and is questionable for the Saints. So I mean, you definitely could argue that the Saints are healthier than the Patriots. That doesn't necessarily mean they're better, but if you're just going off an injury report and looking at their PUP and injured reserves list and things like that, I would say that the Saints are at least healthier. Not necessarily more talented, but definitely healthier at this moment. And the Patriots are I guess you could kind of call it a short week. They're coming off of a Sunday night game. So the Saints played at noon on the same day, so they had, I guess, 12 hours more to prepare, I guess, or to rehab or whatever. So that's the Saints injury reports. I'm pretty excited about it. Makes me pretty happy to see that they're pretty much fully healthy, and this good chance with how the Saints, just being a Saints fan and how the Saints seasons go, and just how the Saints seasons probably will go. There's a good chance this is the healthiest they'll be all year. That to where you have like all your star players, even though you only have a couple of them. But yeah, I'm excited for this game. I really hope they put out a good performance, and heck, it would be even more exciting if they actually get the win here. But now let's get on to MVPs for this game. MVPs, hot takes, and then we'll give them the picks and score. My pick and score for this game. So my MVP for this game, he was our offensive player of the week last week with 4 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. And I'm talking about Rashid Shaheed. So I'm looking for Rashid Shaheed to have another breakout game, another offensive player of the week type of performance. Not necessarily that it's going to be all picked up from an 87-yard touchdown bomb, but maybe a 40-yarder or a 50-yarder, and then maybe sprinkle in a couple more like medium to uh, intermediate type of throws to him, to where you have like similar type of numbers, but maybe not quite as skewed off of just the one catch, but it might be like six catches for 100 yards and a touchdown, which would be like a 50-yard touchdown or something. I have the need for Rashid Shaheed. I need it. So I'll take Rashid Shaheed as my MVP for this game. He's going to have another impressive performance and a player of the week type of performance. Who just shout out Kool-Aid McKinstry. He was the NFC Defensive Player of the year or of the week last week with the 2 interceptions he had against the Giants. So shout him out, and hopefully that helps and grows his confidence. And I think Rashid Shaheed was nominated at least for one of those Offensive Player of the Week, NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He was noticed at least. So that's my MVPs. We'll have more of the players of the week post game of offense, defense, and special teams, if there even is a special team. So special teams has been hard to find a player of the week or the player of the game for special teams here for a while. So now let's move on to hot takes here. And we just talked about him and talked about how it feels like it helps have like kind of a fully complete season. Like what we feel as Saints fans, this kind of makes us feel whole now because we're getting Chase Young back. So in regards to getting Chase Young back, Chase Young, like I think it's obvious already, and I think Kellen Moore even said it that he's expected to play. But Chase Young plays and he gets a sack in this game. He's going to take Drake May to the ground in this game, all the way to the ground. It's not going to be just his almost sacks that we've all fell in love with, where he's literally like rushing him into someone else or rushing him out of the pocket, but not getting there. He is going to get in his first game of the year with the Saints. He's going to get a sack and add to his sack total. So that's Chase Young. And then another one we talked about when mentioning like the injuries and things like that. We talked about how Alvin Kamara is maybe a little banged up, but he says it's just soreness, and it happened. Will have happened a week ago by the time the game kicks off. But Kendra Miller, who had more touches in the game against the Giants, whether it's running or receiving, just total touches, total snaps. Kendra Miller is going to have more touches than Alvin Kamara in 2 games in a row. Does that mean that Kendra Miller is now RB1A, or is he still RB1B? I guess we'll have to see. But I think it's probably more of just the management due to the soreness of the ankle and just as a veteran player in Alvin Kamara. But still, I think we're going to get 2 games in a row where Kendra Miller maybe gets off a little bit better than Alvin Kamara, even though the running game and any type of Texas routes, option routes, screens, or anything like that didn't really go off in the game against the Giants, anyways. And I do believe the Patriots have a pretty good run game, but it would be nice to see them get going in that regard. So we got that Chase Young, Kendra Miller, all those hot takes are kind of in regards to injuries. But here's another one in regard, but he's not on the injury report either. Neither is Foster Monroe. But this is kind of just an extra, kind of a lagniappe pick that I just want to hit and would, like I said, would probably make the Superdome explode, the top come off of it. But an anytime touchdown for Taysom Hill, whether that's at any point in the game, at any position. He could be on special teams, blocking a punt and returning it back, or returning a punt or a kickoff for a touchdown, run for a touchdown, throw for a touchdown, receive a touchdown, an anytime touchdown for Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is going to get in the end zone, and he's going to make the roof of the Superdome just absolutely come off in this game. All right, so those are the hot takes. I just mentioned that the Taysom Hill one, it's an extra, it's a lagniappe, but we hope that it definitely hits. But now to picks and scores here. So I'm sure you can hear it in my voice and hear it in the way that I'm talking about them. That I'm excited for this game, and I'm super excited with how healthy the Saints are going into this game and how they're coming off of what looks more like a pretty impressive win against the Giants after the Giants' impressive win over the Eagles, to where I think the Saints are going to get on some kind of a winning streak and make the playoffs or anything like that? No, not necessarily. But I remember like originally looking at the roster or at the schedules when they first came out, and you're just kind of going through the list of like, these we'll lose to them, we'll win to them, and when does the easy stretch, like the first 3 or 4 games of the season, just felt unwinnable. But now that you've gotten to this easier stretch, which is like the Giants, the Patriots, the Bears, the Jets, like that's when we felt that was an easier stretch, and the Saints could maybe get a win somewhere during them. So the Patriots were in that conversation as a team that the Saints could possibly win or are just as good as, or the Patriots aren't just like head and shoulders better than them. So just because the Patriots win one game against a division opponent, that makes them like a playoff team, or that makes them just head and shoulders above the Saints. Kind of like how the Saints beat the Giants, and that win was worthless basically to non-Saints fans, just saying, "Oh, well, you beat the Giants." Well, it feels kind of different now. So are the Saints better than what they thought before? I don't know, but I need to see it, is what I'm saying. And more, I need to see it from the Patriots. I don't believe the Patriots are that amazing of a team or that much better than the Saints. So for my pick and score in this game, I'm picking the Saints to win. Are we thinking a 2-game winning streak here? Have I really picked the Saints to win 3 times this year already, going into what, week 6? I think so. So I've already picked them. Three, it'll be 3 times in 6 weeks. It's kind of crazy, really, when you think about it. When the projection of the Saints from a lot of media people was that they're going to be the worst team in the league, or they're only going to win like 2 games. But I'm picking them again. I'm picking the Saints to win 23-19. Saints win, and you get kind of the odd numbers of 23 and 19 because I predict there's going to be a kick missed, or an extra point missed. But what I'm expecting this, and I'm hoping the Saints can carry over from the Giants game, is the turnovers. Turnovers come in waves. But the thing about the Patriots is their running game. They have an okay running game, but the issue with it is Ramondre Stevenson is a fumble merchant. He's a fumbler. So if the Saints could knock a fumble out of his carry while he's carrying a run, and capitalize on that in good field position, or at least keep points off the board for the Patriots, I could see that as being a big factor in this game, as the Saints hopefully bring that same ball hawking mentality over from last Sunday. And he's had issues with it, so he's definitely a target for that. But like I said, with the odd score here, there's gonna be a Blake Groupie. He's gonna miss an extra point or something like that. But I've been saying it for weeks now that I want it to come down to the Saints having to make like a defensive stand to win the game, at the very end. So it's going to be a game where the Saints have like a 4-point lead, and at the very end, the Patriots are gonna need to score a touchdown. I don't know how far across midfield, or if they get down in goal to go, or whatever, but the Patriots are going to get the ball with like a minute or two left and needing a touchdown to just even tie to win, just to win. And the Saints defense is going to get the stop. They're going to get the game winning stop. And pretty much all the praise is going to go on to them again after they had all the five turnovers last week, and forcing another fumble from Ramondre Stevenson, and probably costing him his job. He'll probably lose his job if he fumbles again. That will be like the third or fourth time if he does fumble again in this game. But I'm ready for it. I'm excited. I hope you can hear my excitement, and it's just mainly because the Saints are healthy. We're getting everyone back. We're getting our top players on defense, and star players, and highest paid players. That goes for Cesar Ruiz, Chase Young, any of those, Justin Reed, all those guys, Alvin Kamara. Just getting everyone back. So that makes me happy. So I think that's about all I have for you this evening. This is the Saints, New Orleans Saints versus New England Patriots, Sunday, October 12th at 12 Central, 1 p.m. Eastern in the Caesar Superdome. And I do believe that is all I have for you this evening. So can I get a check, please?